everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and happy Friday. As I'm recording this, we're about 1 week away from San Diego Comic-Con, Summer Comic-Con, back in San Diego, and Tested will be there covering it, which puts me in a pop culture and collectible state of mind. And this month, July, actually marks the 15th anniversary of the live-action Transformers films, the pinnacle of Bayhem, the Michael Bay Transformers movies that introduced us to these redesigned Transformers characters that just look incredible on screen. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today in the form of these figures in front of me. These come from ThreeZero, which is a collectibles company. They do a bunch of different superhero figures, but they have this DLX line of Transformers, which are some of my favorite things in my collection. A wide range of characters from basically all the Transformers films, and built in this highly detailed die-cast metal pieces with internal structures, incredibly posable, wonderfully detailed with paint jobs. They essentially look like almost the CG models that like the team at ILM and the other effects studios that worked on Transformers films, those models brought to reality. For example, this is Soundwave, with Ravage on the inside from the opening of Bumblebee, probably my favorite of those Transformers films that Travis Knight directed. And he's heavy. He's like extremely posable. You have lights in the head. Doesn't actually transform into the vehicles just because of the physics of these characters. But you do have a Ravage that pops out, can unfold and store in to this chest cavity here. So just a nice example of the attention to detail that ThreeZero and their team put into these figures. But my favorite of them might be the one that you just saw me put together in the opening time lapse, and that is Jetfire right here. Because from the second live-action Transformers film, Revenge of the Fallen, you had not only the redesigned Optimus Prime, with, yes, he has the flames. We're kind of all over that now. But incredible, if this is 1/30th scale Optimus Prime, he dies in the film, they bring him back. But remember at the end, the humans go to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, the Udvar Hazy hangar. And in the center of the hangar, they find in the SR-71 Blackbird, it's one of the centerpieces of that collection, they find the Decepticon Jetfire, who's been on Earth for however many years, a long time. And he's like this weird, crotchety old robot, kind of full of like just this personality. Like it's kind of emblematic of the type of personalities we saw in those films. But the silhouette, the design of Jetfire was just so intriguing. The fact that he has like a equivalent of a cane that he walks around with, while still maintaining all the recognizable features of the SR-71 Blackbird, from those giant engines that he has on his thighs here to, if you look at the top, that's my favorite angle to look at this. It's like all the fins, including the Skunkworks logo, the cockpit, all these pieces that make him a striking character to look at, and an incredible figure to put together. And this did require a little bit of assembly. It's not exactly a model kit, but it's basically like 30 pieces in this big box. And some of the pieces are not as firmly, I think, attached as I think they could be. Pieces were falling off here and there. But one of the reasons that pieces are removable is because the engineers at ThreeZero want to not make this just a single character figure. And while none of the Transformers in this line actually turn into vehicles, this one does do a little bit of a transformation. Because if you remember at the end of the film, Jetfire just sacrifices himself and donates his parts to give to Optimus so the Optimus can become Jetpower Optimus Prime. The incredible design where he takes on the Fallen. And that's what this character can do. When I first saw this announced and shown at last year's Comic-Con at Sideshow Con, I knew I had to have it. And so that's what we're doing today. I've already put this together, done a bunch of close-ups and photos, and so it's time to disassemble Jetfire and see what the process is going to be like to turn Optimus into Jetpower Optimus Prime. Oh, I can't wait to get started. And there you have it, Jetpower Optimus Prime. This thing is insane. Just the number of individual pieces and paneling that went on, basically taking two full-size, full-price figures and combining them into something that when you watch the character on film, no way could you ever imagine that you'd find a posable, over a foot tall version of this as something that any toy maker would ever decide to make. But the folks at ThreeZero and the engineers there took a stab at it, and they were incredibly successful. The whole conversion, the transformation, I think we can call it, took about 2 hours to do, and it is reversible, so I can take these parts and put them back into Jetfire if I want to turn what's left of them, this carcass, back into the full transformer again. This is actually a nice little diorama piece as well that I can use. And I just really appreciated all the clever little ways that they made use of the panels. I assume it was all based on that reference CG work when they look at the back panel of the chest plate of Jetfire becoming like the inner thigh piece of Optimus. It's all exactly as the effects artist had done for the films. And some of the ways the pieces connected between the two figures were wildly different. There might have been a ball joint here, and then two press fit connections on Optimus here. And the fact that you could take all these different panels, the fins and these massive SR-71 engines, create this incredible jetpack that still has some articulation. The whole thing is still posable. It makes this a dream toy, really. Incredible desktop presence. It's going to have incredible shelf presence when I get it into my display cases, and hope you enjoyed watching the assembly of just a ridiculous and ridiculously awesome, honestly, DLX collectible from ThreeZero. Hopefully we'll get to see more characters and toys like this at Comic-Con when I'm there next week. Stay tuned for all our content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.